Hello everyone. Good morning. So I hope I am audible. If anyone can confirm. Shall we get started? Am I audible? Can anyone confirm? Okay. So let's get started. Um, we'll give 2 more minutes for others to join, and then we will start the session. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. It was on mute. Am I audible now? Am I audible now? And can everyone hear me? Okay, sorry. So let me just, I hope you have seen the screen. Let me just reiterate again from dictionary. So a dictionary is a a dictionary is very important Python data structure, and it stores value in key value pair, and each key is associated with a value. So let's say we have created a dictionary. This is a dictionary which we have created, which is a key value pair. So this A, B, and C are the keys, and rest are the values. And then we have, uh, if you want to copy a dictionary into another dictionary, you can use the copy command. Or else, if you want to see the keys of the dictionary, you can use the keys method. If you want to see the values of the dictionary, you can use the values method. If you want to see the items, you can use the items method. And you can update the dictionary by using its key pair combination. So here I am updating the dictionary, and here what I am doing is I am creating a new key value pair. So if you want to add a new key value pair, you can just create a, with this square bracket, you can pass the key and then followed by the values. If you want to clear the elements of the dictionary, you can use the clear method, but that will not delete the dictionary. Your dictionary will be there in the form of empty dictionary. If you want to delete it completely, you can use the delete method. Now we'll talk about sets. I'll just see if everything is all right. Yeah, I hope you are able to see my screen now. Okay. Okay, I hope everything is fine. If there's any issues, please drop me a message. Everything is fine. Now it's okay. Everything is fine. Okay, fair enough. So now we'll proceed with sets. Now set is also a important. So set is sometimes used when you want a unique values in the any kind of data pre-processing. So if you want to create a set, it is unordered. Unordered in the sense that the way you are creating the set and the way you are accessing it is different. So let's say I create a set. Let's say I create a set, a underscore set is equal to, again curly braces. Let's say I have some repeated values, 1 comma 1. Like this, I have some repeated values, duplicate values, like this. So now if I uh, print a underscore set, what it will do is it will remove the duplicate values and it will print only the non-duplicate values, and the sequence in which you have created the set and the sequence in which you are printing it, it is unordered. That's why it is called as unordered collection, and all elements are unique. Now there are some functionalities between set. So let's say that I have another set. Like this, I have another set. Okay. Now if I do something like this, if I do a underscore set dot union b underscore set, so it will show all the values between two sets, which is a and b, which is the union combination. Now if I do, if I want the common values between the a and b, two sets, then I can use a underscore set dot intersection b underscore set, like this. So it will give all the common values between a and b. If I do now, if I want to update the set with new values, let's say I want to update it a underscore set dot update, and then we have like this, print a underscore set, like this. If you see, the values are updated, 20, 30, 40 is updated in the set. So update method is used to update the values. Now you can use the add method also, and here also you have the clear method. If you want to clear the values, you can use the clear method. If you use the clear method, still the set will be present. Like this. Still the set empty set will be present. If you want to delete it, you can use delete as well. Now it will be deleted. Delete a underscore set. Now we are moving to new topic. So we have seen so far all the data types. We have seen tuples, we have seen dictionary, we have seen list. If you have any questions, I give you 1 or 2 minutes. Please ask your questions. Everything, I think I'm audible also, and my screen is visible also. So if you have any questions, you can ask, or else we will start with the new topic. So now we will be moving on to functions. Okay, so everything is fine. So let's start with functions. So in terms of functions, so we have functions, right? So there are two kinds of functions in Python. One is user defined and one is built-in functions. Built-in functions, which is already present in the Python, and functions are actually used to do a given task in a repeated fashion. So once you want to perform a particular activity, you can just call the function, and it will uh, it will do all the things accordingly. Now let's say that I want to create a function. So if you have to create a function, you create it using the define keyword. So if you want to create a function, you can use define, and if I create a function multiplication, I am multiplying two values, and like this. And what I'm doing is I am just printing the value, print C. So if I do so, and now if I call the functions, if I call the function, I have to call with the name of the function and pass the parameters. So the arguments which you are seeing A, B, these arguments are called as positional arguments. Why positional arguments? Because once the position is, once you call this function, if you pass the values like this, now this 20 will go to A, will be assigned to A, and 40 will be assigned to B. That's why it's called as positional arguments. So if you run it, it is 800. Now next is, a function can also return a value. So instead of printing, what I can do, I can just copy it. I can, instead of printing the value, comment it, I'll just return the value. When I'm calling this function, it will return the value and then it will be given as the output. Other thing which you can do is you can save this returned value in a variable and then you can print that variable. So you can save it in a variable and then you can print that variable like this. So these are the various functionalities how you can return the values. Now there is a concept of keyword argument. So keyword argument is the way of passing the arguments when you when you want to pass default values in the function. So for example, the same function, if I do something like this, a equal to 20, b equal to 30. If I do like this, then it becomes a keyword argument. Keyword argument when your function arguments are taking default values. Now, if I don't pass the parameters, this will still work, right? But even if you want to pass the values, you can do that. It will override the 2030 value. So, for example, if I want to pass 30.33 and 40.44. Now this will be overridden. This 20 and 30 will be overridden. So this is how you can, these are the two things in function. One is the keyword argument, one is the positional argument. So I'll just see if you have any questions. If you have any questions, you can ping. Okay, I think there are no questions. Okay, let's proceed. So now we'll talk about how you can work with try except block. So now why try except block is important. So sometimes your code might throw an error. Now in those scenarios, you want to work with, you don't want your code to stop working. So in such a scenario, what will happen is you will write your code in try and except block. So what try block will do, try block will check code for any errors, and what except block will do, except block will execute the code if there is an error. So I hope it makes sense. So we'll talk about it. So let's say that we have a there are various kinds of errors also in try except block you can have. For example, you can have value error, you can have type error like this, or you can have there are multiple forms of error, but I'll just show you that how you can work with these two kinds of error. So let's say if I write a try block, and so instead of dividing it by a number, I divide it by a string. Let's say if I do divided by a, if I do like this, except type error. So what is this type error? Type error will raise an exception when your any of the iteration data type is wrong. So here ideally you should have divided it by integer or a float number, but you are making it as a string. So what if happens if you run this code, it will raise an exception, and that exception is of the type error. Okay, now let's say that what is a value error, and there is a division by zero error. So we'll see division by zero error. Division by zero error exception can be raised when you are dividing any value by the zero. So if you do something like this, try (300) by zero. If you divide it by zero, so what exception it will raise? It will raise zero division error. We'll print division by zero not possible. So here it says that division by zero is not possible. So these are the some of the functionalities which you can use when we are using the functions, when you are using the try except block. Just go through it. I'll see if you have any questions. There are no questions. Okay, let's proceed. Now there are two things which is also important from functions perspective. One is called as args, star args, and one is called as quarks. So star args is actually called as keyword argument. Star args is argument, double star quarks is keyword argument. Now what happens is, suppose that you are not sure how many arguments you are going to pass in a function, then you can define it of the format of star args. Let's say we define a function, and instead of passing the parameters, I just define a variable as star as a input. Now what I want to do is I want to multiply all these numbers. So I create a variable multiply equal to 0, multiply equal to 1, because everything multiplied with 0 will be 0. So for I in INP, like this. So we are doing the multiplication, and then we are finally printing the multiplication. So now what I can do is I can actually call this function, and I can pass any number of arguments like this. To print the values, I can again call this function and pass another set of arguments like this. So when you use variable number of argument as an input, just give a star over here in the argument, because you don't know how many values you want to pass as the argument, and that is the functionality of star arguments. Now we'll proceed. Next thing which we are going to see is quarks. So what is keyword argument? So keyword argument is used when the argument is of type key value pair. So let's say that I define another function like this. Like this, I define double star, and what I can do over here is like this. So now what is happening over here? Let me just type it out. So if I kind of call this method, call this function ABC, and pass the parameters as key value pair. D is equal to 789. Like this, if I do, so what it will do, function equal to B. I think it should be in the parenthesis. So ABC, I have to pass this parameters. Okay, I'll just check it out. What could be the error? But this is how the way you can pass the key value pair in the form of when you are using quarks. So quarks is basically used when your argument is of data type dictionary and arguments are actually key value pair. So let's just try this out. Okay, I'll just check it out. This one alone. Now there is another method which is called as lambda functions. So we'll talk about. So lambda functions are actually anonymous functions and they always return a value. They always return a value. And lambda functions can have one expression and they can have multiple arguments. We'll see an example. So lambda function is very useful from data pre-processing perspective. We'll see how it can be used. So first I will see if there are any questions. So there are no questions. Now we'll move on. So let's say that if I have something like this, the value of x equal to a equal to lambda a1 is to a1 into 10 like this. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a lambda function wherein I am passing a parameter and I am multiplying it by 10. So if I do print of a of 100, when I'm calling this, when I'm passing this parameter 100 inside this a, so this a is passed as the argument for a1 and will multiply it by 100. So to print the 100 square. This is how it is done. Now same thing if you have value of x, you can have multiple arguments. So you can have something like this as well. Same thing, you can have a1, a2, a3, and then you can have this as a1 into a2 into a3. So you can have only one expression. Now when you are calling this lambda function, you have to pass the three values like this. So you can create the lambda values like this. So now we will see a small example how this can be useful when you are working with your data set. We'll see that. So let's say that we are defining a function and we are passing a list and a lambda function. Okay. Now what I'm trying to do is I am creating a new list and using list comprehension. like this. So print. What is happening over here? So now I am creating a list like this, and I am calling this. I am creating a lambda function, which is squaring all the elements. Now I am calling this method and passing this list and passing this lambda function. Once I do this, L underscore B for in L, right? So it is creating the square of all the elements. So what is happening over here, if you see in detail, first I am creating a list. So this list is passed in L. Second, I am creating a lambda function. So lambda function, what it will do, it will square each element, and I am passing the lambda function over here. Now if you see, this is list comprehension. So for each value in this list, this lambda function will be invoked and each item is passed as the argument. Once you are calling this lambda function and passing each item as the argument, each item is getting squared up. So here if you see, all the items are getting squared, and hence we are getting the square of all the items. This is the lambda function, and it is very useful when you are doing any kind of data pre-processing. So I'll just see if you have any questions, or else we will move on to new topic. Okay, there are no questions. Okay, so let's proceed. So now next topic is, we will see some of the built-in methods. So there are various methods, built-in methods available. One is called as map, filter, and reduce. So we'll see that how we can work with those built-in functions. So map is a built-in function that applies a function on all items in an iterator. So what could be a iterator? A iterator could be a list, a iterator could be a dictionary, a iterator could be any kind of data type. Now, let's say I define a function. I define a function and I pass a parameter. Now, I am doing some transformation on this variable. So the transformation is a into 3.244 into 1.2. This is one transformation I am doing. And now this is the function. Now I have a list. Like this, I have a list. And now what I have to do is, I have to map this function onto all the elements of the list. That's what I've told you. Map is a built-in function that applies a functions on all items in an iterator. So if you do map 1 is equal to map, and then you have to pass the function, what function you are going to apply. So what function you are going to apply? You are going to apply f underscore 1, and then on what? On list. like this. You can now print the value, print score 1. If you do, when you print map 1, it is a map object. It will say that it is a map object. Now if you want to print the values inside this map object, you have to convert this into using a list. You can do list of map 1. So it is actually applying a function on all the items of a list. That is the objective of map method. So I'll just see if you have any questions. So I'll pause for 1 minute. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, so let's proceed with the new topic. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask. Now we are moving to another built-in method. So next is you can also do some kind of other functionalities using the map method. So let's see that. Let's say that I have a list. Today we'll have 1 hour session, and next week we'll connect again. Like this, we have a map, and let's say that I want to convert everything into uppercase. So I can do map2 is equal to map lambda I is to I dot upper, and what we have to do upper in which list? L underscore p. Here what you can do is you can print list of map2 like this. It will convert everything into uppercase. Second thing what you can do is you can also iterate through the map object. So if you want to print the values of the map object, either you can use the map method, or you can use the iterator like for loop. So we'll see that how you can print it using for loop as well. So let's say that if I have this value, so I can do for I in map2 print I like this. So if I do like this, then also it will print the values. I comma and equal to run. Let me just run it in the same line, maybe like this. Also you can print. Okay, so this is how you can use the for loop as well to print the values in the iterator. So we'll see one last thing for today is the use of filter method. Now filter method is basically used to filter an iterator based on a given condition. So let's say that let's say I want to filter out only even values. So let's say I have a list. Like this, I have a list. Now, what I can do is I can define a function and I can pass the values. If n percentage 2 is equal to 0, then return n. Okay. Now what I can do is I can do filter. I can use the filter method and I can pass the function which is f, and I can pass the list which I have created l underscore b. So what it will do is it will filter out the elements of this list based on this function. So if you run this, it will create a filter object like this, and then it will, you can print the, convert this into a list like this. If n percent is 2 equal to 0, f underscore c it is like this. Here you can see it gave only even values. So we will today we have, since we have less participants, we will stop here, and next week when we are connecting we will see some more built-in methods. I would request you to watch through the videos and write your code again, because if I share the code file, um, you might not be able to practice because already code is there. So only practice is very important in Python. So I would request you all to practice these codes, and once the boot camp is over, all the codes will be shared with you in the channel. So we have seen couple of points in today's session, and we will continue next week as well. So thank you so much, and please invite your friends and everyone who requires the training in Python and data science, and we will be connecting next week. Thank you.